TENET, there are three scenes that people are confused: Oslo, car chase in Tallinn, and STALSK-12. This video is my analysis of the timeline of STALSK-12. I couldn't catch up with the story here at first, so I felt these places suddenly popped out. I knew they went there to get the algorithm, but I didn't know how they knew the place. When he met Sir Michael Crosby, he said they spotted the detonation in STALSK-12, Sator's hometown, and it was the same day as the opera siege. When he had dinner with Kat, she told him the vacation they went on, so he knew three places, but he didn't know these are on the same day, the 14th. He knew the algorithm is assembled here, because he heard it through the wiretap in Tallinn. The Sator said, "Get the algorithm to the hypercenter." So they traveled backwards to steal it. But on the way back to the 14th, when Kat knew that when he dies, the location of algorithm is sent to the future, she realized he wanna die because he has cancer. Because he thinks if he can't have it, no one can. So he wanna choose when and where he dies. And she guessed it might be the vacation in Vietnam, where she tried to make him feel loved. So Kat traveled backwards one more day than the others to get the time to get to Vietnam to stop him from killing himself before they steal it. Because if he dies, the algorithm will be sent to the future and they will invert the world. The 14th will be the last day of everyone. Even if they steal it and don't escape from the underground, it'll be buried with them and it'll be found in the future. So the future will win anyway.
You win!
That's why they asked her to keep him alive until they escape from the underground before the explosion. Actually, only the protagonist knew the location of algorithm, but I've said on the way back to the 14th that he can't prepare anything without knowing where the dead drop is. So he told only Ives that hypercenter is a ground zero for an underground nuclear test. Sir Michael Crosby told him about a detonation in STALSK-12 on the 14th. The dead drop is at the bottom of the hypercenter. That explosion seals up the algorithm. That's how they went to the underground in STALSK-12. Before we start this video, don't forget to subscribe my channel. Mon Kingdom. First, before we see the STALSK scene in order, I'm gonna explain about some parts you may not understand. Red team, blue team operated simultaneously in the field. This is a temporal pincer movement that I've explained in Tallinn. TENET team was on the way back to the 14th to steal the algorithm. Red team went back to the town before the explosion. Blue team operated the mission after the explosion in reversed time, and they explained their experience to red team. They made a plan by their experience. Then why did red team and blue team destroy the building? They destroyed the building to distract enemies to help Ives and the protagonist get into the underground. Let's see the building scene. The upper part restored. It becomes a complete building. Red team destroyed the upper part of the complete building, so only the bottom part remains. Let's say there's a complete building at exact 5 minutes. Red team saw an upper part on the ground at 4 minutes 56 seconds. The upper part rose and the bottom was restored at 4 minutes 58 seconds. They saw the complete building at 5 and fired RPG at the upper part at 5 minutes 2 seconds. But the blue team saw the bottom part at 4 minutes 56 seconds, which is 5 minutes 4 seconds for red team. They saw the upper part restored at 4 minutes 58 seconds, 5 minutes 2 seconds for red team. The building was fully restored at 5. They also fired RPG at the bottom part at 5 minutes 2 seconds, 4 minutes 58 seconds for red team. The bottom part destroyed and the upper part dropped. That's how the building scene goes. We got a part to check before the STALSK scene. As you know, red team and blue team operate simultaneously. They set the countdown 10 to 0, countdown from 10 from the landing to 0 at the explosion for red team, and vice versa. If Neil passed the turnstile, he got more time than the red team. When he saved them from the underground at the end, his watch could not be at 0. After the building scene, inverted Neil saw Volkov set up a trip trap at the entrance of the underground. I remember he saw his watch and it remained 4 minutes 3 seconds or 6 seconds on the way to a turnstile. Let's say he had 3 minutes when he passed the turnstile. 3 minutes in blue is 7 minutes in red. If he didn't reset the countdown, his watch count is 0. Four minutes before the explosion. The movie didn't show us, but it probably knew the completing time of restoring building. When it collapsed, he reset the clock to 5 and went to the tunnel. But I'm pretty sure he definitely knew the earlier he passed the turnstile, the less he got the time in opposite time. I'm still wondering why he would do that. If he had traveled to further past, he would have had enough time to warn them. He's so stupid. Let's follow a viewpoint of the movie. I'll skip unnecessary parts. Red team and blue team started simultaneously, but for the blue team, it's the end of the mission. Before the building scene, Neil comes back to the regular time because he saw Volkov set up a trap at the entrance of the underground when he was inverted. And the building scene I explained earlier. Neil reset the countdown and went to the underground to warn them. Volkov shot Ives and he passed out. He brought the assembled algorithm, and when he shot him, the body stood up, got shot, and opened the door. Neil, who tried to warn them, went to the place of the explosion. The car blue team shot was the one that Neil was on when blue team started the mission. Let's watch it backwards. You see the movie again? When blue team was delivered here, you can see the Humvee in the distance. This is when Neil saved them. Then, where was this inverted Neil come from? He must be come from the future, but the entrance here was sealed by the trap. Maybe there's other entrance at the other side. Inverted Neil got shot in his head and died. But like the protagonist in Oslo got an injury on his arm before it happened, Neil also should have a hole in his head before he got shot here. How could he possibly open the door with a hole in his head? In my last analysis, I said Neil said Tom forward dominates Tom backward. So I gave an example. Before Sato shot Cat, the hole in the window was restoring itself slowly. As the moment he shot her is coming closer, it's restored slowly, and when it's happening, it's completely restored. Neil was also painful on the spot he was gonna get shot. He was traveling backwards through time, so the spot he got shot already in regular time, but he could open the door without dying. Just like an example of me eating chicken to explain about inversion and turnstile on my spoiler review. He came here in order to open the door, so opening the door cannot be changed cause it's already happened. So he opened the door, whatever the reasons, he got shot or what. If he didn't intend to invert himself to open the door, he wouldn't pass the turnstile. It would never happen, he got shot, his body wouldn't exist at the time. The protagonist asked at the end, they can change things if they do it differently. After they split it up, no matter what he done to save Neil, he gonna die there anyway. Cause if he somehow saved Neil, he wouldn't see him shot and open the door. On the way back to Oslo, after his first inversion, when Neil explained the grandfather paradox, he asked Neil if they've already stopped the future cause they're here now.
It's reversing the flow of time. Doesn't us being here now mean it never happened?
But Neil said optimistically he's right. But pessimistically, in the parallel world, we really can't know the relationship between consciousness and multiple realities. So let's think what will happen whenever they do it differently. It creates a new realities. Let's call the mainstream timeline we saw in the movie Timeline 1. The moment he saved Neil, it creates a new timeline. Let's call it Timeline 2. Then where was inverted Neil in Timeline 2 come from? Does future Neil from Timeline 1 share the past of two timelines? Because it's a parallel timeline at the moment he saved Neil? Saving Neil was a decision after they already stole the algorithm, so we ain't got no idea which one is right. If it's an optimistic result that the protagonist said, or a pessimistic result that Neil said. Why don't we think about it with other sin? What if the protagonist didn't chase Sator to save Kat? What we saw in the movie is Timeline 1, not chasing Sator is Timeline 2. When Sator went to the highway, then no car cut in between BMW and SUV. The past protagonist would hide to 41 somewhere else. Inverted Sator would find where he hid it and get it eventually. Cause he was inverted to find it. He saved Kat as soon as he tossed the case. He ain't got no time to hide it. There ain't no many places to hide it as well. This past protagonist would keep choosing to not chase Sator and be in Timeline 2. And if he, in Timeline 2, chose to chase him again, his car caught in between the cars, he'd come back to Timeline 1. We know that he heard about the algorithm via wiretap. The protagonist who didn't chase Sator went back to Oslo to save Kat. He didn't wiretap him because he didn't intend to chase him, so he didn't know what the algorithm is. Sator would find 241, the protagonist hid, complete the algorithm, and send it to the future. The future will invert the world, the past will be gone, but now we suppose that there are multiple realities. When they invert the world, it also creates other divergent timeline, the Timeline 3. The people in the past in Timeline 3 will vanish. That's why the characters in Timeline 1 that we saw in the movie might be still alive. Why did Kat bring Sato's body after she killed him? If the future knew when and where he died, they thought the future would save him. But when she killed him, nobody helped him. A help from the future won't happen. The scene Priya was killed is also same. Kat called him now, but you can't think what comes first. It's like a Mobius strip. The moment she called, he's here. So there ain't no such things. Did she die when he received her message? When she calls, he'll be there, and he's already there. And Kat lives. Let me compare it to the example of chicken. on my no spoiler review again. The moment I made my mind to invert myself in the example is the moment Cat called him in the movie. I was already there when I made my mind, like he killed Priya when Cat was calling him. Changing my mind is that Cat was not calling him. He wouldn't be there if she didn't call him. Like inverted me wasn't there when I was eating chicken at the moment I changed my mind to not pass the turnstile. A friend of mine sent me a picture that someone summarized the Tenet in Chronicle timeline. The day he killed Priya and saved Cat was, I don't know how many days after, but after the Tallinn. Cause she got shot and passed the turnstile in Tallinn, there ain't no Cat without injury after the Tallinn. No Sato after the Tallinn, so no car and nanny to come for his son. He walked home with his mom Cat. That also means it's after the Tallinn. She called him and it also means she's Cat who been through everything. Why did Priya wanna kill Cat? It's kinda rule of Tenet. Ignorance is our ammunition. After the Oslo, he told Neil at hotel that he could be killed because he thought Neil was an ordinary CIA agent and he saw the inversion. Cat also became a target of Priya for the same reason. I guess Priya is killing non-Tenet members who see the inversion. The movie gave some hints that he will find Tenet. Neil said at the end, this whole operation is a temporal pincer. He said, whose? Neil answered, yours. Temporal pincer movement they've done in whole movie was his idea. But like Neil went to the past, when the present himself knew the future himself opened the door in the past. I think he also learned the idea of future himself from present Ike's now. It does make sense, but from the moment they can go to past, the paradox is inevitable. At hotel after the Oslo, he worried he could be killed. Neil said, won't you have to do that anyway? He said, I'd rather that be my decision. Neil said, so would I think. And he smiled, because he knew it is his decision in the future. And also in Tallinn, he said, lying is standard operating procedure. Neil repeated himself and smiled. He said this for the first time, but Neil already knew he said that in the future. That's why he smiled. When he met Priya after they used the turnstile in Oslo, she also said it to him. He's never heard it from anyone, but he used this phrase, and this implies he'll find Tenet in the future in the movie. And in Oslo, when he asked Neil in the ambulance why he didn't tell him it was him from the turnstile, he said what's happened, and the policy was suppressed. He asked whose policy? Neil said ours. It also can be a hint. That's it. That's all my analysis. It's not officially right, and these are my personal opinions. It's a theory I analyzed from the informations in the movie. Comment anything that you think I was wrong about. A lot of movies were delayed in this year, 2020. Tenet is a ray of light in the darkness to me. Please hit like and subscribe, and share it to your friends. See you in the next video. Bye.
Tennis. Last time it was no tennis.
Mon Kingdom.